with our radio show.
You know, Val, why magic? What got you involved and so taken with being a magician in the first place?
Well, I have known that I was a magician from a very early age, and I would say must have been 4 or 5 years old. And it wasn't for any reason other than I loved the art of magic. Maybe it comes from a past life. I have no idea. But before I even seen my first magician, I knew I was a magician.
Do you remember the first time you ever performed in front of a large audience? You know, how was that experience? Was you nervous?
Oh, geez. I was deathly afraid to perform in front of an audience. I was known as the school magician from elementary school, through college and everything. But in elementary school, I was definitely afraid. Probably I had so much passion to be a magician, it's what scared me the most. So I used to learn magic, but I actually wouldn't perform it other than maybe for my classmates, friends and family. But it wasn't until I was, maybe 10 years old, I started doing parties. And little by little, I just started developing the magic and the confidence. And I was a theater major from junior high school to college, and that really helped a lot. But in the beginning, there was a lot of fear.
Did you have a mentor as you were learning the art, or were you self-taught?
No, yeah, I was self-taught. My brother had a big interest in magic as well, although he never was a performer, but he had an interest in it. So I used to, follow him and kind of follow in his footsteps. But my brother was actually a big influence.
How did your mother and father feel about you doing magic?
It's one of those things that son, you're going to have to really think about the future, and that you're going to have to get a real job someday. And I didn't want to listen to that, and I didn't. And thank goodness I didn't, because I could have easily gone in other directions. But I stuck by magic, and still doing it today.
Who were your inspirations for magic, and like Houdini and people like that, Blackstone?
Yeah, my inspirations in magic, they would go back to Houdini, because the way I had to learn magic, because it really wasn't very much on television, the information wasn't out there, so the library played a big part in my education. So I would read a lot of books, anything about magic. So there was an encyclopedia, so I learned a lot about the history of magic. So I learned about, Houdini and Thurston and the magicians of the early 1900s. So they have a big influence on me. That's from when I was very young. And then there came the movie Houdini with Tony Curtis, and I was really taken by that.
This is a question that I've asked myself all the time. We've talked to a lot of professional musicians, and I've always asked them, what happens when you forget your lyrics on stage? What's it like for a magician on stage when something goes wrong? Do you ever get like people in the crowd that goes like, "Hey, I know how you did that"? You know what I mean? How do you react to something like that?
Well, the thing about magic is it's that rule of life. If something's going to go wrong, it will. Things go wrong all the time. But when you're a magician, you know that things are going to happen because you're relying on, if it's threads or mechanics or certain angles, and you're relying on certain things that shouldn't be seen. So something can go wrong, and they do. So the magician has to be prepared through his practice. If something does go wrong, how am I going to get out of it? So we prepare for things like this. It would either be taking the trick or illusion into another direction, or having an out. have another prop on hand ready to go. So, when things go wrong, that plays a big part, and it does happen all the time. It takes a lot of guts to do magic.
Well, how many times do you practice an illusion before you unveil it to a crowd?
Well, there's a thing that, we profess, and that is to do perfect practice. That is when you learn something, you're in the learning stages, and then you learn it till it's pretty much perfection. So now is when you know it. So that's when the real practice starts to happen. And once you know something perfectly, then you do perfect practice, and that's when you really push yourself and practice. And then you find out all the things that can go wrong. That helps you be prepared. And then you could focus on performance as opposed to what your hands and angles and everything's doing. So perfect practice.
Perfect practice. With all the illusionists out there, how competitive is the magic industry now?
Well, magic is wonderful in the fact that it's all about imagination. And, Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge because imagination is infinite. So magic is infinite in the fact that it's just as far as one's imagination will go. So that's why new things can always be created and invented, and they are. And with magic, things are wide open completely. I get a lot of magicians from all over the world asking me questions, and places like Iran, for instance. I get a lot of magicians out there because magic is new to them, and in certain countries they're not allowed to do magic for one thing, let alone be able to get the tools that magicians use. So I help them out. It's all about imagination. I tell them, okay, use things in the street like rocks and whatever you can find in your home. And I give them tips on how to do magic without actually having magic shops and the knowledge and the books and all the things that are easy to get, for other magicians in other countries.
So Val, everybody wants to know about your role as the masked magician. How did that character come about? Was it something that you came up with, or were you approached by the Fox Network?
Well, I was actually approached by the Fox Network. They were going to do this series. It was going to happen anyway. And then they went around. I had a show in Biloxi, Mississippi. It was a 2-hour stage show. I was on tour at the time. And they came down there, they seen me, they liked what I did, and then they told me what the show was about. I turned it down several times, and then they continued to talk to me and call me, and I talked to some fellow colleagues, and we finally came to, we came to the idea that it would be better to work with the Fox Network as magicians and as opposed to work against them, because they were going to do the show anyway. The knowledge is out there. They knew how to get magic illusions. They really didn't need a magician. This is Hollywood. They create magic.
Mm-hmm.
So when I stepped in is when they agreed to, let's have a compromise on what's going to be on the show, how it's going to be revealed, and that's when I decided, all right, because I was going to be a fall guy, and I knew this in magicians' eyes and public's eyes. However, I was making a big step for the art of magic.
Yeah,
and
of
that's
course.
how it came to be.
The show was a huge hit. I was a big fan. Randy's a big fan of the show. You caught a lot of bad press, though, from fellow magicians. I think it was because they just didn't understand why you actually did it. It's my understanding that it was actually to promote magic and to get the younger generation interested in the trade. Am I right?
No, that is absolutely right. And that is one of the things that has happened, but not just, like here in the States, but all over the world. It brought more people into magic. You got people really interested in magic. There's more magicians today than ever before. So I didn't go in to go and hurt the art of magic or anything, but you are right. The magicians didn't get it. And what they fell for was the publicity that was set up by the network. And magicians just fell right into it. And actually, in hindsight, it was all really a good thing because it got magicians actually talking, even though it was negative and everything. But it put magicians all over the world talking to each other. And they created some organizations to find out what the laws about copywriting illusions and trying to stop these kind of shows. And they learned a lot, finding out that it was really hard. They can't copyright things. They couldn't stop the shows. It wasn't trade secrets like, some businesses or, trade secrets are involved. So there was a time of a lot of education for established magicians, and then it opened doors for new magicians.
Like Robert said, any time that show's on, we'll watch it. Excuse me. I just get mesmerized by it, and you're just a cool cat, man. When you're up there doing your thing, it's just awesome. You're like, wow, that's cool. I bet I've seen each one of them probably 10 times. And how long does it take to film one of them shows, and how much secrecy goes into it?
Yeah, especially in the beginning. Well, originally it was just going to be one 1 hour show. That's what it was. It was one TV special. But then ratings went through the roof, and there was so much interest in the show and what was happening with the publicity. It just took a life on of its own, and then another special came, then another special came. The ratings were doing great. Prize specials came, and then I wound up doing a 13-hour series with here in the United States, and that was a complete surprise. Everything was a complete surprise. Originally I just thought it was going to be one show. It'll be done. It'll be gone, and that'll be the end of it. But it still hasn't ended.
Yeah. I mean, right now I read that there's like a comic book coming out called The Masked Magician. Now, is that based on you?
Oh, yeah. It's actually, it's a graphic novel, and it's not actually based on me, but it is based on the character, where the character is foiled by other magicians, and it goes back into the history of magic, and I don't know, there's some twists and turns, and there's some pretty fun projects coming up like that.
Yeah, you were on a Diagnosis Murder, right?
Diagnosis Murder actually wrote a TV special around me and the character and everything. Yep.
That's cool. I mean, you've also won a Latin American Academy Award, and was that for the show, or what was that for?
Yeah, well, actually, that was just one for my contribution to the arts. In this case, being the art of magic, and opening the doors for new magicians. Everything the show has contributed to, as well as my appearances, just personal appearances on the different TV programs over, like in the South America. The ratings would always go, through the roof. Ratings like they've never seen, and so that's where the award came in. It was a special. It was for having a very special show. I've received a lot of awards for those very reasons. And now a lot of things have changed. There's a new generation of magicians that have grown up with the show that I get mail every day, and I try and answer as many as I can. And there was one gentleman, I think he might be from India, and he's sending me videotapes of he's making some of the illusions that he has seen on the show and performing them. And he says he's having a great time, and thank you for opening the doors. I was just invited to be there's a magic festival over in the Ukraine coming up, and they want me to be the guest of honor with all these magicians.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so the mindset has really changed, and that has to do with all the new magicians that are out there now. Yeah.
What do you consider to be your proudest moment of your career so far?
The proudest moment of my career so far is, I'd have to say, is the good things that I'm able to do with the character. What is it has allowed me to do, because the character is so well known, and that is by going to orphanages, hospitals, spending time with, having the opportunity to spend time with the kids and see their faces light up. And I do this in many different countries. I had a child from the Make-A-Wish Foundation that it was his wish to spend time with me in his troubled days. Those type of things have made everything worth it. Besides the great mail I get from all these up-and-coming magicians, asking for various tips and help, and helping them out it always brings a smile to my face.
Well, Val, do you have any TV specials on the horizon or any big illusions you're working on right now?
What I'm working on right now is a couple things. I'm working on the Best Magician Live, which is going to be a world tour. I'm talking with a really big company. I can't say anything about it now. We just started talking last week, but the show is going to be huge. And I'm really putting most of my focus on that at this moment. And then, like I tell you, I spend a lot of time helping different charities and these new magicians send me questions, and also writing some books. And so I stay pretty busy. But,
it sounds that way.
The best part, though, is what I'm able to, the good things that I'm able to do. And
it sounds like you're doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, thank God, yes, I have, and I thank God for that, and I'm grateful to do that. Just like in Brazil, there's a thing called the favelas, and it is a very dangerous area to go into. It's like the shanty towns area, and so I've gone up there and created programs to bring the cultural arts to these underprivileged people, and doing those type of things just makes everything worth it.
Well, Val, is there any websites or social media that you have that people can go to and type in to get more information about you and upcoming shows and projects?
Oh, yeah. Very easy. Just www.themaskedmagician.com. There's a Facebook link. There's various other information on there. And you're going to just put in Val Valentino or just put in The Masked Magician. All kinds of things pop in. But at www.themaskedmagician.com is where most of the information will be putting up on. We're going to make it current as time goes on.
Well, Val, it was our pleasure talking with you tonight. You sound like a very, very genuine and nice man. We are proud to have you on our show.
Oh, gosh, you guys, thank you so much. And it was an honor for me to be here as well. And I hope they have me back sometime.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We'll be looking into your career and checking you out along the way. Like I said, we're big fans, me and Randy both. And thank you so much for taking time out.
All right. Bob and Randy, and to all your fans out there, keep listening And thank you guys very, very much.
Well, you have a nice evening, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.